This is edible, questionably dry-aged picanha. This unintentional experiment of dry aging, I want to see if it does taste good. So you want to see me gamble my digestion? We can do that. It doesn't exactly look the best. It sort of makes your dead grandma's ham sandwich look a bit nice. I make crisscrosses on the fat. Smells perfectly okay. The meat is quite dark, especially the outside. It looks like a biltong. It's still a bit soft, but a bit firm on the outside. Meat was about 2 weeks, just shy of 2 weeks old. See, there's a professional fat man that comes from South America. He makes stuff that's kind of 3 times as old. So you would cut the surface off because it's a bit hard and unpleasant. I would say this is just young enough for it to be edible. So I'm not going to cut it off. If I did, there wouldn't be much left to eat. What is this? I used maxi pad. I didn't change this piece of kitchen paper that had several picanha steaks on top of it. Your meat will last longer when you just leave it out all exposed to the air. Less moisture on the surface, it will last longer than if you were to cover it up and let the moisture stick. And as a testament to the fact that this is still edible, there's nothing growing on it, despite the fact that I hadn't changed it, which is a good miracle. The way I achieve this, I'm going to show you now. Under normal circumstances, to dry age, you need to buy a particular fridge that keeps it at a particular temperature, keep particular humidity so it doesn't dry out too fast. The next legit way is to buy these particular bags that lets moisture out but nothing go back in. You vacuum seal it, but I had none of that because I couldn't afford it. So I just left it in the little fresh section that you have at the top of the fridge. It's really close to the vents of the fridge, so like it's super cold, super dehydrated. That's why it stayed alive for so long. Look, I took it back out because for the sake of the video, making a comparison, I just wanted to show you what I did with a fresh one to get this. As usual, salt the shit out of it, and if you can, get the crisscrosses full of the seasoning. Like, because it's dry, you want to like press that in. Fresh one, it'll stick pretty much right away. Much bigger too. What really goes well, garlic powder. See, a little bit goes an incredibly long ways. And just put it on the fat side of it, because the fat will absorb a lot of that flavor. I promise you it tastes delicious. Just standard chili powder you buy everywhere. A bit on one side. Now that we've fully seasoned all the meat, let that dry, let's go put it in the smoker. 2 firelighters. Grab questionable sizes of charcoal that may or may not slip through the cracks. You don't really need a big fire. A small little mountain, a little bit of wood that's placed on top, sort of like this. I personally think it works the best because it slowly kind of makes it burn. Eventually it might fall down because it's like shrunk. In terms of distance away from the source of heat, even though it's going up, about 1 foot away. Now once this is marinated, it's going to release water, the fresh one. So just put it further away from the fire. Fats, I tend to go fat side first. Just going to close this. Temperature-wise, I expect it to go about 70-ish. I reckon upwards of an hour. We're doing this special. Remember, your mom's coming over tonight. I fucked up. I fucked up. Yeah. It's actually almost pretty much ready. That's good. It's at temp. Even though I wish I could cook it a bit weaker. It was about 50 degrees, so I decided to sear it. I made a mistake, as seldom as that may occur. I overcooked it. It's still, you know, pretty juicy and things like that because there's a nice amount of fat, but the problem is it's like medium well. You can definitely tell it's like, yeah, dry aged. It smells a bit different though. It's pretty soft. Bit of the crunchy bit on it. It would have been so good. How do I explain that? You ever just like eat blue cheese, and after you eat blue cheese, it's like a funky aroma that permeates your like whole like nasal cavity and mouth. It's like a very mild version of that. It's because a bit of like a funkiness to it, which I'm pretty sure is you're supposed to have. I didn't need to cut these edges off just yet, just because it wasn't like that old. Once it gets about 10 days is probably the limit before you have to cut it off. But I tell you what, the bit in between the fat and the muscle, that shit's so soft. Normally it's the toughest bit, which is why I'd like to opt for slow cooking it. Which tastes pretty good though, turning out. Now this is the fresh one that you saw earlier. Bruh, it's so key. Edge to edge pink, it's pretty soft. Let's try it. Final verdict, I actually prefer the dries a bit more. It's less chewy, it's just generally more tender. But only by a bit. If it was any more older, probably not. So from my findings, I reckon between 5 and 9 days is probably best that you leave it in the fridge. It's just something about it, I don't know how to explain, is good. I could do it justice if I dry aged it, but as a whole piece of meat, I'm gonna show you in 3 weeks or so.